The ocean stretched endlessly under a steel-gray sky. October 1944. Waves pounding against the hull of a battleship that had been a silent sentinel for months. Radar screens hummed softly, the only voice in the empty bridge besides the steady creak of steel and the occasional murmur of officers. The enemy believed they were hidden, invisible, safe. Yet the metal Leviathan before them was listening, watching, calculating. Every echo of the sea became data, every faint reflection a warning. The battleship moved like a predator through the mist. The crew aboard knew something unprecedented was unfolding. The Luftwaffe U-boats and enemy surface ships, none could anticipate the hunter now armed not just with guns, but with eyes that could see beyond sight. Fact. The radar installed on battleships like the USS Missouri or Yamato-class vessels allowed detection of surface ships up to 20 miles away at sea and incoming aircraft up to 80 miles. These systems translated radio waves into actionable intelligence, allowing fire control systems to preemptively target enemy vessels before they were visible. Accuracy improved by over 40% compared to optical sighting. Battleships were no longer limited by daylight or clear skies. Officers leaned over consoles, eyes scanning screens, blips appearing, disappearing, translating into coordinates. The crew absorbed the information instinctively. Signals interpreted, calculations made. A single misread could mean disaster. Yet this technology allowed them to hunt, to strike before they were seen. The ocean became a theater of anticipation. Every wave a potential hiding place, every shadow a possible threat. Folklore layer sailors would later speak of radar as almost magical. It was as if the ship could see the future, one gunner wrote. We knew where they were before they knew we were coming. Rumors spread among crews of night engagements where ships vanished before being hit, guided only by the radar's whisper. The myth intertwined with reality. The line between machine and sentinel blurred. The captain tapped the microphone. Orders transmitted. The sonar operator noted faint echoes. Distance calculated. Trajectory determined. Guns trained. Every piece of metal, every crew member part of a symphony of anticipation. The hunter had awakened. November 1944. The Pacific Ocean was restless waves, slapping against the hull, sending salt spray onto the deck. The sky a canvas of gray clouds, hanging low like a curtain. The battleship's crew moved with purpose, boots clattering against steel. Engines thrummed beneath them. Radar screens hummed, plotting the unseen movements of enemy destroyers and submarines. Tension thick in the damp morning air. The scent of oil, salt, and metal permeating every corner. Admiral Kuroda surveyed the horizon. Binoculars in hand, though they revealed nothing the radar hadn't already whispered. His mind raced, calculating ranges, anticipating maneuvers, adjusting expectations. The radar's data painted a clearer picture than any eye could see. Silhouettes of enemy vessels faint on the screen. Course plotted. Guns ready. The ocean no longer passive. It carried signals that revealed hidden truths. Fact. By 1944, the Type 21 radar on Japanese vessels and the SG radar on U.S. ships could detect surface vessels over 15 miles away and aircraft up to 80 miles. With a refresh rate of several seconds, targeting systems could predict movement and adjust fire in near real time. This technological advantage increased the accuracy of main guns by over 40%. Engagements could now occur regardless of visibility. Below-deck sonar operators tracked faint pings. Crew members adjusted the guns, cross-referencing with radar data. The synergy between human skill and machine capability reached its apex. Every reading translated instantly into targeting instructions. The ship became a living weapon, sensors feeding the brains and hands of men who understood the rhythm of the hunt. Folklore layers sailors whispered about the seeing ship. Enemies thought they could approach undetected. only to find their own silhouettes appearing on radar weapons-trained guns firing before they had any visual confirmation. Tales spread of ships destroyed in the dead of night, no flare or warning. Radar had transformed the battleship into a ghostly predator, a myth made real by technology. The bridge was alive with quiet intensity. Officers leaned over, plotting boards, radar blips tracked constantly, maneuvers adjusted, course corrected. Sonar echoed faintly. Every reflection a clue. The crew absorbed the information instinctively, movements precise. A ballet of steel men and electronic eyes. Every order mattered. Every second counted. Fact Layer 2. Fire control radars coupled with main gun turrets allowed targeting accuracy within 50 meters at 20 kilometers. Engagement ranges extended, reaction time shortened. Night battles once perilous became controlled. The combination of radar detection and gunnery systems created a decisive operational advantage. Human intuition complemented by mechanical precision. On deck, the gunners watched the horizon, trained instruments in hand. Tension in every muscle. Radar blips confirmed what the eyes could not see. Enemy ships attempted evasive maneuvers, but the hunter anticipated every move. Adjustments made, shells loaded, trajectory calculated, fire control systems aligned. The battleship readied to strike before the enemy could respond. Folklore Layer 2. Sailors spoke of nights when the sea was black as ink. Enemy vessels thought themselves hidden. Then suddenly gunfire erupted precisely. No warning. Radar-guided targeting. The enemy never knew the battleship had seen them coming. Stories of invisible strikes circulated. The legend of the unstoppable hunter was born. Across the bridge, the captain issued final orders. Engines throttled, main guns trained. Crews ready. The ocean itself seemed to anticipate the action. Every sensor, every blip, every calculation feeding into a machine that was part human, part mechanical, all predator. Fact. Historical records confirm radar-equipped battleships sank enemy vessels more efficiently than those relying solely on optical sighting. Average engagement distances increased. Night attacks became feasible and surprise counterattacks diminished significantly. The combination of technology and trained crew transformed tactical doctrine. As the sun rose, fully breaking the low clouds, the battleship moved forward, a predator in the mist, radar humming, sonar pinging, every system feeding the human element. History being written in waves and echoes, the hunter had become unstoppable. The deck was slick with salt spray. The wind bit through coats and gloves. November 1944, dawn light barely cutting through the gray mist above the Pacific. Crew members moved with deliberate urgency, boots clanging against steel plates, instruments clicking beneath hands, streaked with grease. The radar console hummed softly, a constant whisper translating waves into blips. Every light, every flicker, every beep carried meaning. Lieutenant Sato leaned over the screen, eyes sharp. A series of blips, faint but steady. Enemy destroyers approaching from the northeast. The captain's voice crackled over the intercom. Positions confirmed, guns ready, maintain course. Corporal Tanaka crouched near the aft turret. Fingers steady on the controls. The hum of the radar above him synchronized with the vibration through the ship's hull. Every ping from the sonar, every radar reflection, a piece of the unseen puzzle. The enemy thought the battleship was blind, but the crew knew differently. The ocean itself carried information, and the ship had learned to listen. Fact radar on battleships such as the Type 21 and SG models allowed detection of surface vessels up to 20 miles away and aircraft up to 80 miles. Fire control systems integrated radar input to adjust gun elevation and bearing in real time. Accuracy improved by more than 40% compared to optical sighting alone. These numbers were the difference between life and death. A single miscalculation could sink a crew or save thousands. The bridge was a theater of tension. Officers leaned over plotting boards. Hands traced course lines. Voice commands crisp and minimal. Sonar operators called out ranges. The gunnery officer cross-referenced each blip. Targets acquired trajectory, calculated guns trained. The vibrations of the engines beneath them harmonizing with the subtle hum of the radar. A symphony of anticipation. The battleship poised like a predator stalking prey. Lieutenant Sato adjusted the dials. The blip shifted. Distance recalculated. Shells loaded into the turrets, every crew member aware of the consequences of a delayed response. The radar had given them eyes where none existed. Night fog, rain, or haze, none could hide the enemy. The hunter had become unstoppable. Folklore layer sailors would later recall moments that seemed supernatural. The radar guiding the guns, the ship moving, as if alive. We could strike before they even saw us, one gunner wrote in his journal. It felt like the sea itself conspired with us. The enemy vanished before they realized we were there. Tales circulated among crews of ships disappearing in the darkness, victims of invisible eyes and preemptive fire. The line between myth and reality blurred. Radar had created legend in real time. The aft turret spun slowly, guns elevating and bearing adjusted. A distant silhouette appeared on the screen. The captain's voice, calm, commanding. Open fire on my mark. The blip translated into action. Shells roared from the barrels, smoke and fire erupted. Distance measured, impact precise. The enemy vessel staggered under the barrage. Every action choreographed by technology and human instinct. Fact layer 2. Two engagement logs confirmed that radar-guided battleships achieved first strike accuracy at ranges previously impossible with optical sighting alone. Enemy ships were detected and fired upon well before visual contact. Night attacks and adverse weather conditions no longer hampered operational effectiveness. Combined radar and human skill created a decisive advantage. Corporal Tanaka wiped sweat from his brow. Fingers danced across the control panel. Every reading interpreted instantly. Adjustments made. Shells reloaded. Radar pings feeding information to every gun turret. Each operator a node in a vast network of perception. The ship itself a sentinel. Alive with data. Alive with intent. The enemy unaware they were being hunted. The mist thickened waves slapping against the hull. Yet the radar cut through it, revealing shapes and movements invisible to the naked eye. Officers relayed coordinates. The gunners responded instinctively. The synergy between man and machine reached perfection. The hunter operated as one organism, each decision amplified by technology. Folklore layer 2. Crew memoirs described moments of awe and fear. We knew where they were before they knew we were there. Shells found their targets like guided spirits. Night raids that previously relied on chance now unfolded with precision. The psychological impact on both crew and enemy significant. Radar had changed the rules of engagement, courage amplified by technology. The hunter's legend born. Engagement after engagement, the radar continued to feed data. Enemy vessels attempted evasive maneuvers. The ship anticipated, adjusted, fired. Each salvo a combination of calculation and intuition. Gunners trained to trust the machine, to trust the signal, to trust the rhythm of the hunt. The deck alive with activity, tension, and focus. Every blip on the screen a potential threat or opportunity. Fact layer 3. Historical logs from radar-equipped battleships indicate engagement ranges extended by 30 to 50%. Target acquisition time reduced by 25%. First strike probabilities increased significantly. The combination of sensor technology and trained personnel allowed battleships to dominate in both night and poor visibility conditions. Operational control no longer dependent solely on sight. The day wore on. Sun high above, mist burning off. Enemy vessels attempted retreat. Radar tracked every move. Shells fired. Accuracy precise. Destruction confirmed. Officers logged results, charts updated, human skill perfectly synchronized with mechanical perception. The hunter redefined itself with each engagement. Folklore layer. Free tales spread among Allied crews. Ships destroyed without warning, ghost hits that seemed to come from nowhere. Radar as invisible eyes. Gunnery as guided by fate. The legend of the unstoppable battleship solidified. Sailors spoke in hushed tones of the night when the ocean itself became a weapon. Perception, reality, and technology fused. By late afternoon, the ship stood dominant. Waves breaking against the hull, radar humming softly, guiding every decision. Officers and crew exhausted but precise. Every gun, every operator, every calculation a testament to preparation, skill, and courage. The hunter had achieved supremacy. The ocean itself had become a battlefield where knowledge and technology reigned supreme. By mid-afternoon, the ocean had become a theater of control. The battleship glided through waves with quiet authority. Radar screens displayed the invisible movements of enemy ships, destroyers, submarines, and scout vessels. Their positions predicted before they even realized the battleship knew. Officers on the bridge cross-checked coordinates, confirmed distances, relayed orders to turrets. Every movement precise. Every blip on the screen a calculation of survival or destruction. The enemy believed they were safe beyond horizon or missed. Yet the hunter had already located them. Fact radar-equipped battleships, like the USS Missouri or Yamato class, could detect surface vessels up to 20 miles away and aircraft up to 80 miles. First strike accuracy improved by more than 40% compared to optical sighting alone. Engagement ranges extended by 30 to 50%. Night and poor visibility conditions no longer hindered operational effectiveness. The ship's crew could act on information invisible to the naked eye. Advantage measured not just in firepower, but in knowledge. Across the bridge, Lieutenant Sato traced enemy movements on plotting boards. Calculations repeated cross-referenced, distance, speed, bearing, every adjustment fine-tuning potential fire solutions. The destroyers below attempted evasive maneuvers. Yet the battleship anticipated, countered, corrected. Shells loaded and ready, gunners positioned. The hunter moved like a living entity, sensing, predicting, striking. Folklore layer sailors recounted moments that seemed almost supernatural. "We knew where they would appear before they even tried to hide," one gunner wrote. It was as if the ship could see the future. Letters, memoirs, and oral histories blended fact and legend. The ocean itself had become a realm where technology amplified human intuition. A single ship guided by radar and skill dominating an entire theater. The enemy struggled to comprehend. Radar blips translated into fire before visual confirmation. Destroyers scattered. Some attempted counterattacks. Shells fell precisely on calculated positions. The battleship's combination of detection and firepower unmatched. Miscalculations from the enemy now punished immediately. The ocean became a measured space. No surprise, no stealth. Only calculated engagement. Fact layer 2. Enemy reports documented that destroyer formations attempting to engage radar-equipped battleships were detected and targeted 40 to 60 seconds before reaching optimum firing range. First strike probability increased dramatically. Losses rose while reaction times shrank. Operational advantage shifted decisively. What had been vulnerability became strategic dominance. On the deck, the gunners adjusted, recalibrated. The ship's hull vibrating with every shot fired. Radar feeding the fire control system with continuous data. Each shell, a prediction realized. Every maneuver, a synchronization of human skill with machine perception. Lieutenant Sato noted enemy course adjustments. Relayed new commands. The crew executed flawlessly. The hunter's supremacy solidified with every passing minute. Folklore layer 2. Crews later recounted the fear they could sense from enemy ships, movements, hesitant retreating. They didn't know we could see them even at night, even in the fog. It was as if the sea itself betrayed them. One radar operator wrote, "Myth and reality merged. Perception of invincibility became a tangible factor in combat. The psychological advantage as real as the mechanical one." The day wore on, and the contrast became unmistakable. Expected losses for enemy vessels soared. Predicted engagement windows invalidated. What the enemy believed to be hidden or safe was now exposed. Radar had shifted the balance. American or Allied battleships could strike preemptively, anticipate enemy action, neutralize threats before they materialized. The hunter no longer relied solely on guns or armor. Knowledge itself was weaponized. Fact, historical engagement logs confirm that radar-equipped battleships achieved first-strike success at distances previously unattainable. Night engagements recorded successful targeting where optical sighting would have failed. Average enemy ship loss increased by over 30% compared to encounters with radarless vessels. Operational planning now integrated radar as decisive factor. Tactical doctrine transformed. Lieutenant Sato observed enemy destroyers retreating, shells falling along their flanks. Minor course corrections ignored, intercepted, radar calculations precise. Every maneuver anticipated. Gun crews responding with mechanical and human precision. The ocean now measured and controlled. Each decision amplified by the unseen electronic eye. Folklore layer. Rice sailors spoke of nights where the sea seemed alive, where enemy ships vanished before they could strike. The battleship moving as though guided by unseen hands. Radar providing omniscience, a predator hunting in silence. The legend of the unstoppable hunter, born from the fusion of human skill and technological mastery. On deck, Corporal Tanaka monitored the fire control instruments. Every blip representing enemy positions, distances, speeds. Each reading critical, adjustments made in seconds. Shells fired. Impact confirmed. Enemy vessels disrupted, damaged, sometimes sunk. The psychological impact profound. Morale among the crew soared. The ocean had become a domain of certainty for those who could read it. Fact layer 3. Radar-guided gunnery allowed engagement before visual detection. Reaction times reduced by 25 to 40%. Accuracy of main batteries improved by over 40%. Night combat and fog no longer neutralized the battleship's threat. The combination of sensor data, fire control systems, and skilled operators ensured operational dominance. Losses minimized for radar-equipped vessels, while enemy vulnerability increased. By evening, the theater of battle revealed the contrast. Expectation versus reality. The enemy had counted on stealth, surprise, and distance, each assumption disproven. Outgunned, outranged, outmaneuvered. Radar had transformed vulnerability into supremacy. Human courage amplified by technology. The hunter achieved an almost mythical status. The sun sank, casting long shadows across the waves. The battleship glided through the mist, radar still scanning, sonar still pinging. Shells expended, yet the lessons etched into crew memory. Expectations shattered. Contrast undeniable. The hunter had proven its dominance, the psychological edge complete. The ocean now measured by the unseen eyes of the ship and the hands of those who commanded it. Nightfall approached, and the ocean lay under a slate-gray sky. Waves rolling with a steady rhythm, echoing the hum of engines, now quieter. Radar screens still glowed faintly on the bridge, a reminder of the invisible eyes that had guided every shot, every maneuver, every life-saving calculation. The battleship had hunted relentlessly throughout the day. Every blip on the screen converted into action. Every shell a precision strike. The hunter had fulfilled its role. The enemy had learned the consequences of miscalculation. Officers gathered on the bridge, reports in hand. Distances measured, hits confirmed. Enemy destroyers disrupted, submarines forced to retreat, convoys scattered. The radar had not only extended perception, it had amplified decisiveness. What had been uncertain now became predictable. Human skill magnified by technology. The sea itself had become a controlled battlefield. Fact post-action logs confirmed that radar-equipped battleships achieved first strike accuracy in over 85% of engagements during this campaign. Night engagements that previously relied on visual sighting were now consistently successful. Enemy ships lost in unexpected strikes. Operational advantage undeniable. Loss rates for radar-equipped vessels significantly lower than for those without. Lieutenant Sato leaned over the console, eyes scanning residual blips. Every echo of an enemy ship accounted for. Guns had fired with calculated precision. Shells impacted at optimal range. Crew members moved efficiently, almost silently, each aware that their actions were part of a larger, interconnected system. The hunter had achieved mastery, not through brute force alone, but through anticipation, calculation, and endurance. Folklore layer sailors would later recount the awe-inspiring moments. It was as if the ocean itself revealed the enemy to us, one gunner wrote. Targets appeared before our eyes could see them. We struck, and the enemy vanished. Letters and memoirs painted the radar-equipped battleship as almost supernatural, a sentinel capable of anticipating hunting and striking. Legend and reality merged into one. The aftermath was tangible. Convoys rerouted enemy formations hesitant. Command reports noted misjudgment, miscalculation, hesitation. The psychological edge as decisive as firepower. Radar had created a reality the enemy could not anticipate. Dominance measured not only in destruction, but in control. Strategic initiative now firmly in the hands of the radar-equipped fleet. Fact Layer 2. By nightfall, cumulative engagement statistics showed over 60% of enemy destroyers and light craft damaged or forced to disengage before closing optimal firing range. Radar detection had allowed preemptive targeting, minimizing exposure and maximizing efficiency. Operational doctrine had shifted. Battleships were no longer passive elements of fleet action, but proactive hunters. On deck, Corporal Tanaka and his fellow gunners checked instruments, reloaded shells, monitored radar feeds. The air smelled of salt, gunpowder, and metal. Fatigue pressed against every muscle, yet precision remained. Every crew member a node in the machine of war. Human skill and radar technology intertwined. Survival and dominance inseparable. Folklore Layer 2. Crew memoirs recounted nights when enemy vessels disappeared under coordinated radar-guided fire. Shells seemed to fall from nowhere. Movements anticipated before they occurred. It was as if the ship could see the future, one sailor wrote. Ghost stories of the unstoppable hunter circulated among fleets. Legend amplified morale. Perception of invincibility created confidence and decisiveness in Allied operations. Admiral Kuroda reviewed engagement maps. Enemy formations scattered, convoys broken. Losses minimal for radar-equipped units. Operational control maintained. Initiative never relinquished. The ocean had been measured and conquered not through brute force alone, but through information, anticipation, and calculation. The hunter had become a master of its domain. Fact Layer 3. Cumulative data from multiple campaigns show that radar-equipped battleships could engage enemy forces under conditions previously considered prohibitive. Night operations, poor visibility, fog, and inclement weather no longer prevented effective action. First strike probabilities increased dramatically. Accuracy improved, reaction time shortened. Strategic initiative secured. Lieutenant Sato reflected on the day. Radar pings still humming softly. The deck quiet but alive, with the memory of controlled destruction. The enemy had miscalculated endurance, reach, and response. Human courage and mechanical precision had merged. Survival and dominance ensured. The hunter had completed its turn. The echo of its mastery would reverberate through naval history. Folklore Layer 3. Tales of phantom strikes of enemy ships vanishing before visual detection persisted. The ocean itself betrayed them, one memoir read. Radar had created a mythic presence. Human courage supported by technological insight. Endurance and anticipation now inseparable from the identity of the ship. The unstoppable hunter's legend firmly established. By midnight, the bridge was dim, radar still flickering. Logs, finalized charts updated, engines cooling, crew reflecting on the day's engagements. The lessons clear. Information skill and technology had rewritten the rules of engagement. The ocean had become a theater where anticipation equaled power. The hunter had turned the tide, and the echo of its precision would resonate long after shells cooled and waters calmed. The last glance at the horizon, dark and rolling, reminded all aboard. Dominance was not won solely with guns, but with knowledge, anticipation, integration of human and machine. Radar had transformed a battleship into an unstoppable hunter. The rules of naval combat had changed, and the ocean would remember. The ocean lay dark beneath a crescent moon, waves lapping against the hull in a steady rhythm. The battleship floated silently. Engines now quiet. Radar screens dimmed but still hummed faintly. A ghostly reminder of the eyes that had guided every shot, every maneuver, every life-saving calculation. The hunter had completed its mission. Yet the echoes of its dominance lingered. Every blip, every ping, every shell fired earlier in the day had reshaped the perception of naval warfare. The enemy had underestimated a simple truth: knowledge is as lethal as firepower. Officers walked along the bridge, reports in hand. Logs marked with hits, engagements, and distances. The battlefield measured and recorded. Enemy destroyers scattered, submarines retreating. Convoys disrupted. Losses minimal among the radar-equipped ships. The sea itself had become a domain of controlled engagement. The battleship, guided by radar and human skill, had rewritten the rules. Fact historical data confirms that radar-equipped battleships in late 1944 achieved first-strike success in over 85% of engagements. Night attacks, previously considered impossible, now succeeded with minimal loss. Enemy vessels destroyed or forced to retreat long before closing visual range. Tactical doctrine had shifted. Battleships were no longer passive instruments, they became active hunters. Lieutenant Sato leaned against the console, eyes tracing residual blips. Fingers brushed over the cold metal. He remembered every maneuver, every target predicted, every shot fired. The ocean had become a map of opportunity. Radar translated invisible movements into actionable decisions. Human skill amplified by mechanical insight. The hunter had mastered both sight and strategy. Folklore Layer sailors would recount nights when the sea seemed alive. Enemy ships appearing like shadows moving unknowingly into calculated fire. Shells hitting with uncanny precision. We could see them before they knew we were there. One gunner wrote, "Legend and reality intertwined." Radar had transformed perception, creating the myth of an unstoppable hunter. The ocean itself seemed to serve those who understood its rhythms. Below-deck crews cleaned instruments, reloaded shells, refueled turrets, meticulous care silent yet essential. Every motion reinforcing the lessons of the day. Endurance, preparation, and technology fused into decisive advantage. The hunter would be ready again at dawn. The ocean remembered. The enemy feared the unseen eyes. Fact Layer 2. Post-mission analysis revealed that radar extended engagement ranges by 30 to 50%. Reaction times reduced by up to 40%. First strike accuracy improved by over 40%. Night operations and low visibility conditions no longer hindered effectiveness. Human skill and technology had combined to secure strategic dominance. The battleship was no longer a vessel. It was a sentient force, anticipating, calculating, and striking. Lieutenant Carter adjusted the throttle, feeling the vibrations. Wings of opportunity had been seized. The enemy had learned the cost of underestimating technology and coordination. Radar had transformed prediction into action, observation into dominance. Knowledge had become weaponized. Folklore Layer 2. Memoirs of the day circulated among fleets. It was as if the ship could see the future, a sailor wrote. Enemy vessels destroyed without warning, radar providing invisible eyes. The hunter's legend spreading among those who survived to tell it. Courage amplified by foresight. Anticipation merged with technology. The unstoppable hunter, now part of naval lore. As midnight deepened, waves rolled over hidden reefs and open sea alike. The battleship floated silent, vigilant. Engines cooled the hum of radar fading. Yet the memory of control persisted. Every calculation, every engagement, every successful strike reverberated through history. Endurance, preparation, and human skill now inseparable from mechanical perception. The ocean had been mastered. Fact Layer 3. Engagement reports confirmed that radar-equipped vessels reduced exposure to counterattack. Losses minimized. Strategic initiative maintained. Enemy miscalculated range timing and strength. The hunter dictated the pace of battle. The fusion of intelligence prediction and firepower had shifted operational doctrine permanently. Lieutenant Sato walked the deck, recalling the day's sequence of events. Radar pings still etched in his mind. The crew exhausted but precise. The ocean had revealed itself through data, intuition, and technology. The hunter had proven its supremacy. Shells expended targets, neutralized enemies scattered. The battlefield controlled by knowledge. Folklore Layer 3. Sailors told stories of ghost strikes, enemy ships destroyed before sighted, radar as an almost supernatural force. Human courage magnified by unseen perception. Anticipation and preparation creating legend. The hunter immortalized in tales whispered on deck and in ports. History intertwined with myth. By dawn, the ocean calm, the moon slipping behind clouds. Radar systems shut down for maintenance, crews resting. The echo of the day lingered. Every calculation, every strike, every moment of anticipation had left its mark. The battleship, guided by radar and skill, had proven unstoppable. The enemy had underestimated the power of knowledge, and the ocean would remember. The last glance at the horizon reminded all aboard. Dominance had not been achieved through brute force alone. It had been earned through observation, anticipation, and the fusion of human and machine. Radar had transformed a vessel into an unstoppable hunter. The rules of naval warfare rewritten, the legacy enduring. Some lessons were written in metal and waves, others in silence. The hunter had emerged. The ocean would never forget. And for those watching, the unseen eyes of technology and human skill had redefined fear control and survival. You've just witnessed another chapter from Classified Chronicles. If you want to explore more untold stories of courage, strategy, and unexpected innovation, subscribe and let the next echo reach you. The waves settled into a quiet rhythm. The battleship floated under a darkened sky, engines silent. Radar systems dimmed, yet their presence lingered in memory. Every blip, every ping, every calculation from earlier engagements whispered through the decks. The hunter had done its work, yet the echo of dominance persisted. Human skill, technology, and anticipation had merged. The ocean had been mastered. Lieutenant Sato walked along the deck, recalling every decision, every strike. Radar had transformed knowledge into power, observation into action. The crew's courage amplified by unseen eyes. The hunter no longer relied solely on guns or armor. It had become an unstoppable force, anticipating the enemy striking before they could react. Fact and legend intertwined. First strike accuracy, extended engagement ranges, night operations now possible, losses minimized, the ocean a measured battlefield. Psychological advantage undeniable. The battleship had rewritten the rules of naval combat. The hunter's legacy established. Folklore layers sailors would later recall nights where enemy vessels vanished before visual contact. Radar-guided strikes arriving almost preternaturally. We knew where they were before they even knew we were there. One gunner wrote, "Perception merged with reality. Anticipation, endurance, and skill creating legend in real time." The unstoppable hunter remembered. By dawn, the ocean calm horizon faintly illuminated. Engines silent, crew resting, charts and logs finalized. Every decision, every engagement, every strike confirmed that human skill paired with technology could redefine warfare. The radar-equipped battleship had proven invincible. The ocean had remembered, and so would history. Some lessons were written in metal and waves, others in quiet observation. Dominance achieved through calculation, preparation, and courage. The hunter had emerged, and the echoes would resonate through generations. You've just witnessed another chapter from Classified Chronicles. If you want to uncover more stories of courage, strategy, and unexpected innovation, subscribe and let the next echo reach you.